Good morning, Sully.
What's happening, boss?
Hey, man, got my coffee, got everything packed up, ready to go out to a game today. I'm just excited to be around another day of South Jersey football, man.
Hey, how was your weekend last weekend with your buddy's wedding and all that?
Well, a lot of planes, trains, automobiles, whole lot of moving, shaking, not a lot of sleeping. But you know what? Anytime you can see a friend or a loved one get hitched, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool to get an invite. So it was. I lost a lot of hours, but that's okay. We made it happen.
Did you end up going with the bow tie?
I did.
Yeah.
And I completely forgot, man, to send you to tweet that out, but I could hardly remember my name by the end of the day. Nonetheless, taking a selfie.
Who was your hats off last night? I guess it was the kicker for West Deptford, right?
Had to be the kicker.
Yeah, man.
Had to be the kicker, Mike Bilodeau. But you know what's funny, Sully? And I wrote a column on this last night. You know, I kind of was interested to find out about the snapper, the kid who snapped the ball, because they said, well, who do you want to talk to? I said, I don't know. Let's go with the kicker. Let's go with the holder. Let's go with the snapper.
There you go.
And he said, okay, well, Darren McEwen, who plays running back and safety and does pretty much everything for West Deptford, he says, Darren McEwen is the holder. I'll get him. And the snapper, I don't really remember the kid's name. And I'm like, oh, that's definitely the kid I want to talk to. This is a freshman.
The no-name snapper.
Exactly. This is a 14-year-old freshman, this kid.
Freshman, wow.
Who started snapping 2 years ago because the team he wanted to play on in middle school didn't have a snapper. He wanted to play football, but wanted to see the field. And due to a couple injuries, this and that, this season, Coach Clyde Folsom said he's our best option. So a couple weeks ago, he got put on the roster. 5'10", 168 pounds, goes in there. He's a great snapper, man. That's what he does. So, you know, if you want to find your way on the field, there's a way to do it.
Exactly, man. Definitely shows his initiative there to figure out a way to get on the field.
Yeah, it's just a cool story, man. You only see stuff like that in high school. I remember my brother was a long snapper as well for the same reason. He wanted to play. So it's just cool. And Mike Bilodeau actually 2 years ago quit playing soccer to play football because he knew he could kick. That would give him a chance to play also. So my hat was off to both of them. The other guy's named C.J. Senator. My hat was off to him too. I just didn't know who he was yet.
Well, now everybody knows his name, right?
Absolutely.
He's South Jersey famous, at least for a couple of minutes here on the South Jersey Sports Report.
That's what it's all about, man.
Yep. So what was your impression of that game? I mean, that's one of those games. Those are two of the storied franchises over in that part of the state. And when those two teams get together, it's going to be some knockdown, drag-out football.
Yeah, and it was, Sully. Going in, I didn't know how to make a read on it because you had Ken Lim. Arguably West Deptford's best player didn't play, and neither did Ben Klaus or Davis Smith, who were probably Haddonfield's two best players. All three were out with injuries. So this was, I don't want to say it was a dress rehearsal, but if they play again in the playoffs, it would be a much different picture. I thought it was just another classic game between the two teams. I mean, Tyshawn Bookman, a sophomore running back, had 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. You look at Jay Foley, the quarterback for Haddonfield. He ran for a couple touchdowns. First half was like 40 minutes. I mean, it was fast. West Deptford held the ball. I think what it told me was either of these teams, on the right day, if they get everybody back, can go all the way. But Group 2 is a crapshoot, man, in South Jersey. So I still think these two are probably the teams I would not want to play early on in the playoffs. But, we'll see. They got to get healthy, too.
Well, that's kind of West Deptford's MO. Their best defense is a good offense. They like to really control that clock and limit the possessions by the other team. We saw that last year in the state final against Cedar Creek. In that second half, Cedar Creek only had maybe 4 possessions the entire second half.
Yeah, they're very good holding on to the ball, and they can throw it a little more this year than in years past with Pete Oreo at the helm. I'll say this, man. Ken Lim is a player who, unfortunately, we didn't get to see him last night, as I mentioned. And you saw him last year. I mean, he was critical in beating Cedar Creek. He's one of the best running backs around. Most teams would not be able to put together a performance the way West Defford did last night without a player of his caliber. But they did. Because of West Defford, there's always apparently 26 running backs on the sidelines. If you can't run the ball in Clive Folsom's system, then I don't think you're even allowed to be born in West Defford.
I think that's an elective when you're a freshman is running back class.
It's one of the first things they ask you when you sign up for school. Can you play? Can you run the power play? But Ken Lim takes that to another level, obviously. But good for this young man, Tyshawn Bookman. T.J. Hoyt was good. McEwen was good. There are a lot of different guys who can run the ball for West Defford yet again. So the Eagles are moving forward, undefeated. They haven't lost in 2 years, I guess.
Talking with Mark Trible of the Courier-Post. And, Mark, what do you make of Timber Creek? They're kind of just getting things done on a week-to-week basis, not really dominating teams, but they're getting the job done, picking up the wins. Are they just kind of biding their time till playoff time?
Well, I thought after the first 3 weeks when they went out to St. Louis, then they beat Cherokee, or Delsea, then they beat Cherokee, really the way the schedule lined up. I don't want to say they'd be on easy street, but they would have some time to kind of get their eggs in a row, and that's what they've done. They didn't blow out Polo 6 last night, but at this point, who cares? Timber Creek's the best team in South Jersey in our rankings because they got the quarterback who is the best around, and they haven't lost.
Yep.
I mean, they haven't lost in forever. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. You give me a 16-team bracket of the best teams in South Jersey, and Timber Creek with that quarterback, Devin Leary, who's going to NC State next year. I like my chances with the Chargers there. So I don't think it necessarily matters. This team has the pedigree to do it. They know how to get it done. So, we'll see in the playoffs. And even then, in Group 3, that might not be till the semifinals that we really see a test.
Right. Mark, what's on your agenda for the next 2 weeks or so? What are you looking out for?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm really looking out for is how the Group 5 picture shakes out in terms of seeding. That's a big deal. There's some matchups there. All the teams are good. I think Williamstown is probably in after their win last night at Shawnee, which was impressive for the Braves. So they would probably round out the picture. You got some very good teams. Howell, Vineland, Millville, Cherokee, Lenape, Eastern. I took one on the chin last night, but only lost twice to very good teams. And obviously RV will probably be the number 1 seed. I want to see how that shakes out because all the teams are capable of winning it for the most part. I mean, You probably wouldn't peg Eastern to win it, but it's all about matchups. Some teams want to play other teams. That's going to start Cherokee and Lenape next week. Probably be our game of the week, I think. I'll be there. That's a huge game for seeding. Who gets a home game? Who gets to, who plays? Who maybe they don't want to play, or vice versa. So that's a big deal, man.
Good stuff, as always, Mark. We appreciate the time. We're up against the break here. Got to let you go, but enjoy the rest of your weekend, man. It's a great fall weekend, so get out there and enjoy some high school football.
Camden and Pennsauken at noon, baby. Thanks, Sully. Always a
baby.
pleasure, man.
All right, man. Have a great one.
All right. You too.
That was Mark Trible of the Courier-Post.